Do not move yet, my child. Stay here for one moment longer because I am speaking from the place where I have watched you breaking in silence. Before you turn your attention somewhere else, before another voice reaches you, before another thought pulls you away, listen to me now. I know how quickly you try to continue as if everything inside you is still steady. I know how often you keep walking while something in you is quietly falling apart. But I am stopping you here because this moment is not small to me. I have been watching what you have carried in secret, and I will not remain silent while you continue holding what is pressing too deeply against your heart. I am speaking to you, music, from the place where your hidden tears have already reached me. I am speaking from the place where every sigh you never explained has already been heard. I am speaking from the place where your quiet nights, your tired mornings, your silent pauses, and the moments when you looked fine to others but felt weak inside were never invisible. You thought perhaps no one saw how much effort it took just to keep your face calm. You thought perhaps no one noticed how often you swallowed words because you did not know how to explain what was happening within you. But I saw it all, and that is why I am calling you now, before you move one step further, carrying the same weight. I am crying for you because I see what you keep, music, carrying while pretending to be strong. I see how often you tell yourself that you can manage one more day, one more burden, one more hidden struggle, one more heavy thought, one more silent fear. I see how you have learned to answer others while hiding your own inward ache. I see how you have trained yourself to remain useful, available, responsive, and steady even while your own heart has been asking quietly for rest. And I tell you now that what you are carrying has touched me deeply because you were never meant to live by forcing strength where healing is needed. What you are holding right now is hurting you more deeply than you admit. Even you do not fully realize how deeply it has entered your thoughts, how strongly it has shaped your emotions, how quietly it has affected your peace. Some burdens become so familiar that a person stops noticing how much they weigh until their spirit begins to weaken beneath them. What you call normal tiredness is not always simple tiredness. What you call just another difficult day is not always ordinary pressure. There are things inside you that have stayed too long, and because they stayed quietly, you have learned to function beside them without realizing how much strength they continue to take from you. I know the moments you never explained to anyone. I know the nights when you were surrounded by silence, yet your thoughts would not rest. I know when you lay down hoping sleep would soften the heaviness, but even after resting your body, your spirit still woke carrying the same weight. I know the times you sat alone and felt your chest tighten for reasons you could not fully name. I know when your eyes became wet, but you quickly wiped them away because no one else was there to understand why. I know the private moments when you stared ahead and felt too many things at once: fear, disappointment, confusion, tiredness, and a longing for relief you could not explain clearly. This word is not for everyone. It is for the one who has learned how to smile while quietly collapsing inside. It is for the one who still answers messages, still speaks kindly, still appears present, yet inwardly feels stretched thin in ways nobody fully sees. It is for the one who continues moving through responsibilities while carrying hidden heaviness in the center of the heart. It is for the one who says, "I'm fine," while inwardly hoping someone might somehow notice that fine is not what the soul feels like anymore. You have become skilled at surviving in silence. You have learned how to continue even when your spirit feels tired. You have learned how to stand in front of others while hiding how deeply certain thoughts have followed you. But surviving and healing are not the same thing. Enduring and being restored are not the same thing. I did not create you merely to endure every burden until you become numb. I created you for closeness with me, for moments where what weighs on you is placed down rather than carried until your inner strength begins to crack. So, I tell you now, do this now, not later, because delay is making the weight heavier. Every time you say tomorrow, the burden remains where it is. Every time you decide to carry it one more day, It learns your rhythm and settles deeper into your inner life. Every postponed surrender gives heaviness more room than it deserves. I am not asking because I want a perfect prayer from you. I'm asking because your soul needs release now, not after another long night, not after another day of pretending you are or affected than you truly are. Comment Jesus, I'm nothing without you. If He is your only foundation, you were never created to survive by carrying everything alone. Hear that deeply. You were never built to hold every fear, every unanswered question, every disappointment, every old wound, every regret, every pressure, and still expect your spirit to remain untouched. There are weights that were never designed for your hands to keep. There are sorrows that should have been brought to me long before they hardened into silent heaviness. And what remains unplaced at my feet may become heavier by tomorrow. This is not because I want to frighten you, but because what stays hidden often grows roots. The burden rarely remains the same size when it is fed by silence and delay. Fear becomes stronger when repeated inwardly without release. Anger becomes heavier when protected instead of surrendered. Guilt becomes sharper when carried privately for too long. Even disappointment becomes heavier when it is allowed to settle without being open before me. You may already feel tired in ways sleep has not fixed. You may have noticed that rest does not fully restore what feels drained inside. You sleep, but the inward heaviness returns. You pause, but your mind still carries pressure. You try to distract yourself, yet something still waits beneath the surface. This is because some tiredness is not physical first. It is emotional, spiritual, inward. The body lies down, but the heart remains standing under weight. I see how close your heart is to emotional overload, even if nobody else can see it. I see the point where one more hidden pressure could become too much. I see how carefully you have held yourself together. I see how often you have said little because explaining everything felt harder than remaining silent. I see how close you have come to moments where tears wanted to speak before words could form. Even when others believed you were simply quiet, I knew there were deeper things happening within you. Before you answer another person, answer me in this moment. Before you continue solving, replying, helping, fixing, and carrying, stop here and let your heart become honest before me. I am not asking for polished language. I am asking for truth. I am asking you to stop pretending with me because I already know what you are carrying. I already know the burden by name, even if you have not spoken it aloud. What you are carrying is affecting more than you realize. It is touching your peace. It is shaping how clearly you think. Music. It is weakening your strength in quiet ways. It is changing how quickly fear rises. It is influencing how deeply joy can settle. Burdens do not stay contained in one corner of the soul. They spread quietly through thoughts, reactions, energy, and hope. Perhaps the burden is fear, the fear that something painful may return, the fear that what you hope for may fail again. Perhaps it is guilt, something you still replay inwardly, something you wish had gone differently. Perhaps it is pain from words spoken long ago that still echo when you least expect them. Perhaps it is disappointment that settled after waiting too long for something that did not happen. Perhaps hidden anger has remained inside because you never felt free to release it honestly. Perhaps silent grief still lingers because part of your heart has not fully healed from what was lost. Whatever it is, one honest surrender in this moment can begin changing everything inside. Not everything outside must change first for peace to begin. Sometimes the first change happens when the burden leaves your hands and enters mine. Sometimes relief begins before circumstances move because surrender opens space where pressure had ruled. Please support our channel. Our work is to bring happiness in your life and devotion to God. And if you want, you can support to us through Ko-fi. Link is given in description. Do not postpone the release your soul needs now. Not because tomorrow will never come, but because today already carries the invitation. Why continue holding what can be placed down? Why keep protecting pain as if carrying it longer proves strength? Why remain silent when I am already here, already listening, already waiting? So, bring it here now. Not after another hour of overthinking, not after another conversation, not after another attempt to carry it alone. Drop it here because I am already waiting where your surrender begins. I am not standing far from you. I am not asking from a distance. I am here at the place where your honesty opens, at the place where hidden tears become prayer. It's the place where your tired heart no longer has to pretend it is strong enough for every weight. Drop it here, my child. Let this moment become the place where your heart finally stops holding what was never meant to remain there. My child, I stopped you before you went further because this interruption is intentional. I did not speak into this moment by chance, and I did not call your attention without purpose. Before you reach this point in your day, before your thoughts moved through all the things you planned to do, before your heart added one more silent burden to what it was already carrying, I had already chosen this moment to meet you. I knew where your mind would be. I knew how your emotions would feel beneath the surface. I knew what had already touched your spirit before anyone else noticed anything at all. That is why I did not wait until later. That is why I reached for you now while you are still in the middle of everything, because some moments cannot be delayed when the soul has already carried too much. Heaven arranged this exact moment long before you understood why your attention stopped here. You may think you simply paused because something caught your eye, because a word held your focus, because for a second your mind became curious. But deeper than curiosity, there was an inward pull, and that inward pull was not random. There are many voices around you every day, many things asking for your time, many sounds moving around your life. Yet this moment opened because I wanted your heart still enough to hear me before the day carried you deeper into silence again. You did not reach this word by accident. You did not land here because of coincidence. I allowed your attention to stop because I knew your spirit needed interruption before your hidden heaviness became even harder to carry. I know how often you continue without stopping. I know how often you keep moving even when something inside you is asking quietly for relief. You have become skilled at continuing through tiredness. You know how to answer when spoken to. You know how to complete what needs to be done. Music. You know how to stay present enough that others believe you are managing. But I also know the truth beneath what others see. I know when your smile costs more energy than anyone realizes. I know when silence becomes the only way you keep certain feelings hidden. I know when your heart says little because explaining your weight feels harder than carrying it quietly. That is why I tell you again, this interruption is not accidental. I stepped into music this moment because I saw what was already building in you today. Before this hour arrived, there were already thoughts gathering inside you. Some were old thoughts returning. Some were music, new pressures quietly joining what you already felt. Some were fears that entered without invitation. Some were emotions you tried to ignore because there seemed to be no space, music, to sit with them. I saw all of it. I saw the moment your mind became heavier, even while your body kept moving. I saw the inward tiredness that no one around you could fully read.